There are way too many people losing out on their dream home over one simple task that takes about 5 minutes to do, but not with this guy and not with the Hayes Home Group. We're going to tell you what that is and a few other tips right after this, so stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? This is Robert Hayes. That's Alan Coombs, along with my wife, Christie. We're the Hayes Home Group right here in Grand Junction, Colorado. If this is your very first time to this channel and you want to know everything about what it's like to work, live, play, eat, sleep here in Grand Junction, make sure you hit that subscribe button, tap that little bell. That way you're notified every single time we post a new video. And if you're even thinking about moving here to Grand Junction, you gotta reach out. Give us a phone call, shoot us a text, send us an email, even send that carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. We've got your back when moving to Grand Junction. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this. So the one simple task that you just must do, obviously, to know what you qualify for. You don't want to look for a house and then find out on an approval letter that you're qualified for less than the house you're looking at. But as far as a competitive situation, what's another main reason why they need to get that pre-approval letter? Then what's, pre-qual, pre-approval? What's the differences between the two?
So good question, Robert. So actually, there's a couple things. Pre-qualification usually means you've completed the application. Based off of your answers on the application, you look like you're qualified, right? That's why you're pre-qualified. Pre-approval, which is what I do, it's where I've actually gathered the tax documents, I've gathered the assets, I've gathered the driver's license to verify who you are. I'm actually ready to write you a letter to go ahead and make an offer for a client. Why that's important right now, obviously, in our environment is we're getting multiple offers. Like, as you know,
super competitive right now.
Absolutely. And so, by the time if you haven't been pre-approved before you actually go and look at a house and you want to make an offer, by the time you actually get it done, you might have lost out on the house.
House is gone, yeah, at that point.
So obviously we always recommend that you get pre-approved before you're even out looking at homes, because again, if you're in that price point where the houses are getting 5 or 6 offers, you want to make sure that you're able to make that offer immediately if you decide that you love the house.
Yeah, I mean, as far as pre-qual, some clients will come to us and they'll say, look, we went on whatever, name the .com, and we've got a pre-qual. All they've done is essentially pull their credit, right? Your credit looks good. That doesn't mean anything.
Well, and essentially on that too, a lot of the pre-quals, what they do is they put in the income, right? So the borrower puts in the income. Well, we all know that we don't all know what we make,
right?
Especially self-employed borrowers.
Not exactly, right?
Yeah, we have a ballpark, and so especially with self-employed borrowers, a lot of times they have deductions and they write off, and so by the time they actually show the IRS what they made, that's the only income we can use.
Right. So that's especially important even when you're looking on some of those .com websites, nationwide outfits, where they're sending you an email that says, you're pre-qualified. Again, it's probably just a credit score. It's not really diving deep into like what Alan's going to do and go through the entire, assets, income, the whole shebang. So that's why a pre-approval is really important. As far as we're getting a lot of out-of-town clients that are coming here from California, Pennsylvania, New York, you name it. They're able to work remotely, and so really the only extra little piece of the puzzle that you're looking for is that approval from, if it's the same company, just to give them an approval to take that current position from where they're at now, and they're able to do the same thing here. Is that, in a nutshell, all they need to do?
Yeah, so essentially it just happened today, matter of fact. So I had a veteran that's transferring out here from Maryland.
Okay.
Right? USAA, right, that one of the .coms, had told him he's pre-qualified. And the reason why is he actually went in on the application, put in his income that he currently makes as a police officer in Maryland.
Okay.
And is moving to Colorado. So obviously he's not gonna be able to be a police officer in Maryland while he's working in Grand Junction.
Everything's gonna be different.
And so he calls me and goes, I don't understand. USAA said I was pre-approved. How come you're telling me I can't buy, I can't basically build a house or buy a house here until I have a letter from my employer in Colorado? And I explained to him that USAA obviously didn't dive into it. They pre-qualified him. They didn't pre-approve him.
Didn't ask enough questions.
Correct. And so, Robert, I've been a lender in Grand Junction for 18 years. And so when I do issue a pre-approval letter, it means something.
Right.
Majority of, I would say, a high majority of the listing agents know who I am. And so when I issue a pre-approval letter, they're going to look at it a lot stronger than one that's from out of town or a lender they don't know at all.
And that's a great point, because we've had offer situations where we've got a letter from Alan, a local lender, very reputable, very well established, and then another letter from nameacompany.com. The seller is going to choose the local lender every single time if those are the two offers on the table. So that's why, not only from knowing what you qualify for and what you're approved for, I should say, from a dollar standpoint in a competitive situation, that is really super important. You actually brought up a good point too about offer letters. Tell folks that are a lot of physicians, anesthesiologists, nurse practitioners, they have an offer letter from St. Mary's Hospital here in town or community hospital, and they're ready to start in 30 days. They don't have any pay stubs yet, but there are a couple of things on that offer letter that you need to look out for, right?
Yeah, so a good point on that. So basically, if you have an employment letter, so you don't necessarily have to start your employment before purchasing a house here. But if your offer letter is contingent upon, say, a background check or a drug screening or something, as long as you've met the contingencies of that offer letter, then all we do is email the HR and they say, yep, all contingencies have been met. We're allowed to actually use that income off the offer letter to qualify, so that you can actually purchase your house and move into the home before you even start work.
A lot of people, we got a question on that from clients who said, look, I only have an offer letter. I don't even start for another month and a half. So I probably need to give you some pay stubs. That is not the case. If you have that offer letter that's salary probably or
hourly,
even an hourly, and those contingencies are fulfilled, you can buy a house. You can get into the property before you even start on your new job. So that's, again, on an offer letter, and Alan will dive into it, make sure all those contingencies are met, and let you know if there's anything in there that we need to dive into a little bit deeper. From just a general lending standpoint, in this day and age, credit score, what are people usually needing to have for credit score?
So ideally, most people have lowered their minimum credit score requirement to 620.
Okay.
Actually, they raised it because it actually used to be a 580 for FHA.
And there's a whole bunch of hoops to jump through with that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So conventional loans, you like to see above a 680 credit score. VA, FHA, a lot of the Govy loans, you can go down to a lower credit score.
Okay.
But it also depends on the whole picture. So lack of credit, whether you have very little credit or if you're like us, where we've been established credit for 20 or 30 years, it makes a big difference. So it's the whole profile of the loan.
Interest rate is going to obviously be probably a little better on a 720 score versus a 640, maybe. Higher the score, the better, obviously. But you can get in the game at 620 for the most part.
Yeah, and like on FHA loans, that 720 is not as important. But it definitely, the higher the credit score, the better it'll turn out for
And then as far as the loan programs, the standard, you get VA, just zero down loan for veterans. FHA's 3.5% down, I think, still, right, for an FHA loan.
Correct.
And then we do have, and get with Alan on this, I know there's a lot of folks that are reaching out, wanting to know, is there such thing as a zero down loan? I guess there's a couple of different ways to go about that. Tell them about that.
So obviously, VA is the true, really, not only, but VA is the true 100% loan program. There's also a program called USDA or Rural Development, which is also a 100% loan program, but you're limited to the areas that you can purchase
only
a house.
Certain areas of town, right?
Correct.
And real rural areas.
Correct. And that one has actually income limits and as well. So VA is the only true 100% really program out there. And again, you have to be a veteran, of course, to take the VA loan. But we do have some down payment assistance programs where you can have as little as $1,000 down and still qualify. So, most people can come up with at least $1,000. Just to even make an offer, you usually have to have $1,000 of earnest money to make the offer, especially in this market right now.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Anything else that's going on in the lending world? You've been doing this forever. Anything else that our clients kind of need to know about, or really when they're going into that pre-approval stage, what do they need to bring to you, and any other advice you can give them?
So a couple things right now. Obviously, if you watch any of the news, you're hearing that rates are going up a little bit, right? It's funny because when I first started in this industry back in 2002, I was refinancing people down to 6%. And they loved me, right? They loved me, like
from
6%.
9 to 6.
I can't believe I got 6. And now you're telling people, well, you're getting 3.25. Like 3.25, they can't believe that it's that high. Because just a few weeks ago, we were seeing rates still in the upper 2s. Obviously, with the $1.9 trillion stimulus, I believe it's about ready to get passed through the House and the Senate now. There's talk of inflation. So obviously with the inflation, that means that your money's gonna be worth less in the future. So a lot of people are selling those mortgage-backed securities, which causes rates to go up a little bit.
Right.
That's started about 2 weeks ago, and So we felt like it's already built into the market right now because they anticipate that was going to pass anyways.
Right.
And so we feel like that rates are going to kind of stay steady now for quite some time.
Oh, good.
So they raised about 1/4 to 3/8 from where they were at probably 2 weeks ago, which is the
Okay.
largest increase we've seen in that short of time in some time. But we feel like now that rates are going to stay pretty low or pretty flat for the rest of the year.
Perfect, perfect. Now,
Still historical lows.
Historical lows. Yeah, I remember, shoot, they were 8% only
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago. So I'm going to throw you a little bit of curveball here. You didn't know we were going to talk about this, but you've been recognized as being in the top 1% of mortgage loan originators, not in Colorado. This is the entire country, folks. What does one do to get in the top 1% in the entire nation?
Well, what's funny, Rob, you've known me a long time. I've been doing this for a long time. I finally made that in 2017. I've made it every year since. So in a population, in a town with a population of 100,000 people, it's mind-blowing to me. I work a lot. I mean,
Yes, you do.
You know,
I know. Saturday nights, 10 o'clock, Sundays.
And it goes back to the reputation in town too. You know, once you get the reputation that your pre-approval letter means something, more people are calling me and want to do business with me.
Right.
So, I remember back in the day I was going and searching and doing the open houses and trying to get realtors to send me business. And now I almost have to be selective of
They're
who I'm
coming to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just because there's only so many hours in a day. So,
for sure.
and I have an amazing team back at Fidelity Mortgage that helps, obviously, but it takes an army to get to there. But
Well, that's awesome.
I'm super proud of that.
Well, and we are super proud and honored to have you as part of our team. And we just can't thank you enough for your diligence, your care, the way you take care of our clients. Again, phone calls at 10 o'clock at night, pre-approval letters over the weekend, Sunday. It doesn't matter. This guy will work 24/7, just like we will. Days, nights, weekends, it doesn't matter. So hope that was helpful. Hope that was some great tips for you. We're going to leave Alan's link below, his Apply Now, his website. There's an Apply Now link there as well. Make sure we do the right thing. Let's set you up for success. Get that pre-approval letter from Alan right out of the gate. Then the fun begins, and we know that money's waiting for you at the finish line. So again, if you're thinking about moving here, we can't help you unless you give us a phone call, shoot us a text, send us an email, even let's do the wings, Alan, send that pigeon carrier, whatever you need to do. We've got your back when moving here to Grand Junction. Until the next video, we'll catch you later.